Marc Lobliner, CEO, MTS Nutrition. Chief Marketing Officer, TigerFitness.com, creator of the Outward Bar, as well as partner in the Ambrosia Collective and 015 Nutrition. Let's talk about NPC show promoters. That was a moment of silence in thanks to what they do. If you guys didn't realize, if you didn't follow my channel, if you're just finding me, I promoted the Rumble in the Borough, which was a charity boxing match on May 8th, boxing event, and we raised $43,000. It came out to $43,000 after expenses, just building the awning, the ring, et cetera, et cetera. We didn't pay people, everybody volunteered their time. Two main charities involved were the Shepherd Foundation and With Love, which are two organizations that help kids with cancer, which now is even more near and dear to my heart. I'm going to tear up a little bit because, as you see, I just recovered from cancer. Granted, not as bad as these kids get, but I get it. I've had cancer in my body, and the fact that we put money into this is amazing. At that fight, at that event, I had food vendors complain. I had a boxing coach from Ohio who I knew, who I actually trained under, have his fighter cheat and use 10-ounce gloves against what should have been 16-ounce gloves. And the girl that got beat up, it was young girls under 20, was the other boxing club's coach's daughter. I almost had a knockdown, drag-out fight between two large professional boxers that we had to break up. It took us 100+ hours each. Sometimes per week, we'd work 20, 30 hours. None of us got paid. It was all charity. And guess what the commonality is? Number one is it's what I love. It's in my heart. I love giving back. Number two is that it's exactly what NPC promoters do a lot of the time. While they are usually a for-profit, sometimes they don't get paid. I was just talking to a local promoter this morning who literally is out $32,000 for a small show. And I'll tell you, stick with this because I will be at that show and I will be competing and I want you there. So COVID hit hard, a year of not doing it. There's some years when attendance is low that he is out money. Some years he makes a little bit of money. You have people like Alan Sizemore, who promotes the NPC Tennessee State, who puts on a phenomenal show and will lose money at the expense to make sure his athletes get a good show. You have people like Gary Udit up in Pittsburgh putting on the North Americans with no crowd, losing money right after the pandemic hit. You have the Arnold getting rid, this is at the high level, Arnold, a multi-million-dollar organization, having a show without an exhibitor space, without an expo. They're going to lose their asses. You have the Olympia that lost money, had literally a hallway for the exhibitors because that's all they can do at the last minute to make sure the show goes on. I used to talk so much stuff about promoters. And throughout the years in the NPC, there's been good guys and bad guys. There's been some crooked people, but overall, from the NPC to the OCB to all the natural organizations, promoters are the unsung heroes of bodybuilding. And I'm not just saying that to get in the good graces, to come back, but I will say this. Now that I know what it's like to put on shows, now that I know what it's like to balance a budget, now that I know what venues cost, that's why I decided to do this show. That's why I decided to make a comeback. I really did. I wasn't going to compete, but I was actually sponsoring the Knox Classic. That's the gentleman I was talking about, Bino Wallace. I was sponsoring the Knox Classic with bars. And I was like, hey, Bino, I'll be there at the table. He's like, yeah, I really need people here. Last year, you know what happened, the pandemic, all that. I'm like, I'll do what I can. And then I think he wrote something like, just get on stage, jokingly, whatever. And I'm like, dude, I wish I could, but whatever. And then like the next day, my partner, Mike Rashid's like, why don't you just compete? You're in shape. And Mike's not a compete kind of guy. And then I'm like, you know what? It's crazy. I told Bino, I'm like, I think I want to, but let me ask my wife first. I had no intention of the whole pro card run. And then my wife, because I've been in such a good mood and so happy, she's like, okay. And I was already lean enough, all I have to do is carb up, and it was great. The sole reason I'm doing this show, the sole reason I'm making a comeback, because of one man, and that's Bino Wallace. Bino puts on the Knox Classic. And then Alan Sizemore and the NPC guys, they do such a good job. They're out there doing seminars, doing posing clinics for free. They've been to Carbon Culture Gym more times than I can count, helping people get involved in bodybuilding and competitions. These are selfless individuals who truly love the sport. And I used to think, hey, you know what? There's some ulterior motive. There really isn't. And I wanted to give an ultimate shout out. And I've been very critical in the past because I was an ignorant dick. I didn't know any better. And I listened to the internets. And I listened to the Get Big forums. And at the end of the day, yeah, okay, there is judging bias in any show, but the promoter really doesn't care. There may be some stuff back in the day, I don't know, whatever, who cares? Bodybuilding's better than it's ever been, and I've asked around of why bodybuilding's getting so much better. I've talked to everyone from competitors to promoters, and I need to put this name out there, and I want you guys, when you see him at an expo, to shake his hand and thank him, and that's Tyler Mannion. Tyler Mannion has done more for the sport than anyone except for his dad, Jim, and JM. Not his dad, but you get it, family member. Like, they're all related, right? The Mannions. Like, the Mannions are looked at, and Weinberger, Steve Weinberger was just out here in Tennessee. These guys are running a large organization, keeping it together, and trying to make all 50 states, all 50 diverse organizations within the NPC. It's like federalism. You have the NPC Georgia, NPC Tennessee, and then it all comes together for nationals, right? What these guys have done to make bodybuilding great again, so to speak, is awesome. It's quite awesome. So I want you guys to realize, as an outsider who not only sponsors, but also loves getting on stage. Well, I don't know if I love it. We'll find out this week. I had to say this, and it's not to get brownie points at all, because a lot of people, oh man, it's so biased, politics. I don't know about all that. But every show I've been to, from the Olympia to the Tennessee State, has been judged fairly for the last 3 years. I can't speak to before then. I don't care. At the end of the day, if you're looking at competing, it's as good a time as ever if this is what you want to get into. But that's all I wanted to say. I want you guys to come to the shows. Okay, I want you to come to my shows. I want you to support these. Because I'm be giving away, I put on Instagram what I'm giving away. I believe I'm giving away 3 large prizes. So you come to the Outright booth, you register, and we're giving away 3 prize packages for a year's worth of supplements, a bunch of different stuff. And we're also going to give away a free Outright bar to everybody. And if we can make it work, we'll go to dinner. I'll take you out to eat if you're one of the winners, you know? It'll be great. And we get to hang out. I'll be there. I'll be having fun. I'm only on stage for a little bit. I'll be backstage, obviously pumping up and stuff. But I've been to these things before. I'll budget time to shake hands, hug, and do whatever. And we'll have a good time. But I want you to come to these shows. Number 1 is the Tennessee State. And that will be this weekend. That is July 31st. In Chattanooga, Tennessee. The next one will be the Knox Classic, which will be August 7th in Knoxville, Tennessee. And then the big one where I plan to give it my all to regain a pro card in bodybuilding, this time the IFBB, the one that matters. And that'll be September 2nd at the North Americans, put on by Gary Udit. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Support these guys, support bodybuilding. And if you need to buy supplements, support tigerfitness.com. Thanks for watching. That's not a game. Bro, you ever watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
All about
Remember
that.
the intro song? Yeah. Now, this is a story all about how the protein bar world got flipped, turned upside down. I'd like to minute just sit right there, tell you how we came out with the Outright bar. Well, right here. So check it out. There were two flavors that we launched with. We launched them at the Mr. Olympia, and everybody was like, it was 2018, a beautiful year. A beautiful year, a free year. And we went to the Olympia with this bar no one ever heard of. And we said, hey, we have 2 flavors. That's right, 2 flavors. And all the ladies, all the men were like, what? And we're like, yeah, try it. They're like, well, I don't like protein bars. They're chalky. We said, no! We made this ish good. So we had 2 flavors. One was oatmeal, raisin, peanut butter. And the other,
Chocolate chip peanut butter.
These are what started them all. I'm gonna just take you a trip down memory lane. Now, if y'all ever eaten an oatmeal raisin cookie, look at that. The oats, the texture, the raisins, nostalgia.
And right here, you
The
got
OG.
the peanut butter, the chocolate chips. You got oats in there. So good. Texture's so soft.
If you want to take a trip down memory games, you want to buy these. These are the ones that start them all. Chocolate chip, peanut butter outright bar, as well as the oatmeal raisin peanut butter. Get them now.